The great thing about anniversaries is they happen every year. Seriously, there's always something worth celebrating. There is always a big anniversary of something, and here is my little roundup of the ones that are worth thinking about in 2018. And maybe a little bit of an idea about how you could build those into your program as a civic leader. So there's two biggies this year. I think the biggest one is the anniversary of Armistice, the 100th anniversary of the end of the First World War. This is without a doubt something that is going to be marked in your community. There will be events all across your community, and as a civic leader you'll be involved in those, and that's great. I think you could make your whole year about the anniversary of the armistice. That would be fine. I think that would be appropriate, particularly if you happen to have a lot of military personnel living in your area. That would be very important. The one thing I would say is what the Royal British Legion are interested in doing is saying thank you. So not just saying thank you to the people that laid down their lives during the Second World War, not even just saying thank you to the people that fought in it, but saying thank you to the generation of people that suffered through the First World War and allowed us to live the lives that we live today. So whatever you are planning on doing for the 100th anniversary of the end of the First World War, try and throw a thank you blanket over the top of it. The other biggie this year is, of course, women's suffrage. 100 years since women got the vote. Now, technically, that anniversary is already passed, but I think that if you wanted to make your programme as a civic leader about equality, then it is definitely worth mentioning that we are in the year that has celebrated the 100th anniversary of female suffrage. So that's something that you could definitely use to talk about what you want to do if that fits in with your vision of your time in office. Also, another big event that happened 200 years ago today was the first blood transfusion performed by a man by the name of James Blundell. Well, it's not technically the first blood transfusion, but it's the first modern one, so it's worth celebrating. And if you're in any way interested in trying to encourage more people to donate blood, or maybe join the organ donor registry, or to join the British Bone Marrow Registry, then that's a great thing to hang it on. Get in touch with NHS Blood and Transplant. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to help you out. It's also 50 years since the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed. And have we made that much progress? I don't know, discuss. But it's certainly something that you could build into your year, particularly if you're taking a bit of a slant of encouraging peace. Definitely get involved with the Mayors for Peace project. I'll put a link on this article where you can find out more information about that. But that's something that you can definitely hang it on. 50 years since the Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed. It's also 50 years since the Beatles released their iconic album, Hey Jude. Now, if that made you feel quite old, I am sorry. If not, I think the point is there are many cultural artifacts, films. It's 2001: A Space Odyssey, 50 years ago today, and Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, 200 years ago. So it's worth sort of thinking about how these cultural artifacts could be brought into your year in office, how you could talk about them. I'm not quite sure how you'll fit in 200 years of Frankenstein, but good luck with it anyway. And then finally, the biggie, the one that I know you're all going to be celebrating. And honestly, if you can get this into a speech, let me know. I'll be very impressed. It's 150 years since the world's first traffic lights. All right, you're not gonna use that much, but you might use armistice, you might use suffrage, you might use James Blundell's pioneering blood transfusion, and you might use nuclear non-proliferation. So there's some ideas for ways to talk about what you want to achieve in your time in office. Good luck with it.